Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here, and the trial seems to be on the verge of ending. I've got to tell you, if you've been following the news about NXIVM, I can't help but think that the fix might be in. And what do I mean by the fix might be in? Well, we all know that Claire Bronfman has already pled guilty and cut her deal, and she will receive 21 to 72 months. If she is sentenced to anything more than, I believe, 27 months, she will be able to appeal that. All right? Now, they didn't even offer up a defense for Keith Raniere. Let me repeat that. It's all over, and they didn't even offer up a defense. Keith did not testify. They called no witnesses. What does that scream to me? Backdoor deals have been cut. And if you look at the asset forfeitures of what they actually took, let's take a look, because it's interesting. Because not only did they pretty much take anything, now Raniere in court documents appears not to have any of these properties in his name. Okay, so that part is true, but they're taking 8 Hale Drive in Half Moon, New York. They're taking this account of $15,670, another account of $390,180, another account of $109,000. All right, another property, another property, another property, another property, all the Albany properties, Clifton Park properties, goodbye. New York properties, goodbye. Okay? So the government is taking everything. And if you look at Allison Mack, all the properties that she owned also being taken. Now, Allison Mack, the details of her deal and whatever she cut have not been made public yet. But she's living with her parents. She's really been portrayed almost like a victim in a lot of the headlines, when if you read the documents, if you take a closer look, anything but a victim, really right next to Keith in this. And I'd like to point out that although the jurisdiction forbid them basically from bringing these charges, there were charges a couple of times that went away. They did originally go after Raniere and Allison Mack for child trafficking and child abuse and CP. That was all in there. But what did they end it with? A video, we've discussed this, of him talking about how, basically it's okay to abuse children. I don't want to get too nitty gritty in it, but it was there. And one of the sick details about this case is, in order to blackmail members, they would have to tape confessions or make false claims about others who they loved in their lives actually abusing them when it never took place, so they could later blackmail them. Think about how twisted and sick all of that is. And on top of all these forfeitures and what's happened, again, it seems like the deal has been cut because he's not going to plead. They're going to have their final arguments coming up, and this is going to end. So they're also going to take all of the technology patents, the very odd patents that are out there. Like I said, it appears to me that a real deal has been cut. Why? Well, do I have a microphone right now? Okay. Man, it looked like I didn't for a second. So, there's no talk of Claire Bronfman and her buying political influence through campaign fraud in the 2008 primary run of Hillary Clinton, when in 2007, her and I believe it was Nancy Salzman, not Lauren Salzman, her daughter. By the way, all of them have pled guilty too. We're not sure what the details of their sentencing is going to be. So with her help, they gathered everybody in NXIVM they could, got them to donate the maximum to the Clinton campaign with promises of returning that money. That's campaign fraud. We're also not going to hear much about the Rainbow Cultural Garden, the preschool for elitists that had women in it that were supposedly teachers, when in reality, They were foreigners that Claire Bronfman was getting visas for to act as teachers, who were actually also basically sexual surrogates and prostitutes for Raniere and I would imagine others. That part has not come up in the court documents. But if you look at where some of these women were in the DOS slave system, it's pretty apparent. And again, when they're talking in court about a 15-year-old girl, I mean, that's a very small part of it. A Mexican national, somebody connected to the person behind me here, Emiliano Salinas. Emiliano Salinas, the former President Carlos Salinas' son. No big connection there. One of the Rainbow Cultural Garden schools down there. We've shown a video of Salinas and one of his cohorts in the green shirt singing on stage with impressionable young people to Raniere, wishing him a happy birthday. A man who also, when he had the precursor to his NXIVM program, his executive success program, Consumer Byline, was alleged to have a relationship with a 12-year-old girl who he wanted to mentor, as well as Gina Hutchinson, who at her time was 15 years old and supposedly committed suicide. We've gone over all of these things. Now, it's also interesting when we talk about asset forfeiture, for instance, that they may also, I believe if we go down further enough, yes, go after assets held by Pamela Caffritz. Pamela Caffritz, who also became deceased, overseas, by the way. Very odd. And her bank account, and you can look in the court documents, was being taken advantage of by Raniere himself. He was in the bank account taking money, spending her money knowing that she was not alive anymore. She had some pretty odd connections, that Pam Caffritz. So they may also take all of her assets as well. Because obviously this was a large-scale operation using a front organization, an executive success program, and Hollywood types like Allison Mack, Nikki Klein, who she brought in and, allegedly married. But when you look at, again, all of the evidence, the indictments, the court documents, that's all for legality purposes. That's all for show. That's all a facade. I mean, can you imagine actors and actresses might lie? Meanwhile, you have the billionaire Bronfman sisters, Claire Bronfman, who now has cut her deal. Again, 21 to 72 months. She gets 27 or more, she can appeal. So, again, maybe they give her the 21, maybe they give her the 24, send her to a country club, prison, no big deal. And she'll get off for good behavior. Who knows? I mean, she is very rich. She is an heiress. Why not just give her an Epstein-style work release? After all, it wasn't a big deal that the younger Salzman helped keep two young women in a room captive for almost 2 years on a crazy diet that Allison Mack and Claire Bronfman enforced of 500 calories, according to testimony. No big deal there. That's not torture. No talks of the psychological experiments that went on when some of these women were unknowingly shown snuff films. That's not bizarre. I know everybody wants to talk about the odd branding, if you will, but it was more of a surgical procedure, a cutting. It's not like when you go in, it's not like a branding at all, although it does stay there forever. It's going to be tough to get off. Of, Keith Raniere's initials and Allison Mack's initial. No big deal. I mean, she's a victim. She shouldn't have to do any time at all. And don't be surprised when even Keith's sentence may not be as harsh as you think. Don't get me wrong. They'd give him 5, 10, 15. I'd be shocked if they gave him 20 to life. But who knows? Who knows where this is going to go, how much of a fall guy he's going to be. I mean, he's agreed not to testify, not to talk. Seems deals have been cut to me. Seems like properties have been seized. Bronfman has paid her $6 million to the government. She'll get her sentence. We know about the $14.3 million legal fund for everybody else. Little deals are being cut, folks. And you know what's not being talked about? The real issues. The underage children involved. the Rainbow Cultural Garden connection, the Mexican National connection, the billionaire Bronfman connection. Give me a break. I mean, come on, guys. This is incredible. If you enjoy real news, if you want to hear things that the media is not going to talk about, please subscribe right now. It's the first time you're here. Join the Burmis Brigade. Ring those bells for notifications so you can join us live in the conversation. Always much appreciated, as are super chats. You can check out my other work over at News for a Change. And We Are Change. And listen, we're covering real stuff. We're covering Pompeo. We're covering Assange, Singer, the Bronfmans. We're having some fun with some MMA stuff. Just got back from MSG yesterday, Bellator 222. Good times. DARPA, Dershowitz, Epstein, biometrics, facial recognition, CIA spies, the moon, JFK, and so much more. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I will see you on the flip side. Join the Burmis Brigade today.